Let me know when we are live.
Well, it says we're live. Give it another moment.
Let me know when we are live. Well, there it is.
I say we're live.
We're live. Hello, Gun Nation.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I am living the dream.
Yeah.
Did a little bit of playing this afternoon and went out to the Leak auction and looked at some awesome cars that are going to be going on got the early look. They're going to be going on the auction block tomorrow and Friday and Saturday.
Nice.
So
Nice.
this
That's
is
very cool.
playing a little this afternoon.
Nice. Nice. Pete is saying that Harry needs to put those holsters away and go shooting.
Yeah.
There's always time for that.
Yeah.
I
Speaking of
did
here, well, I was going to show this anyway, with the EDC that I carried today, but I've been carrying this, and this is his new like Gen 3 version because I've had 3 versions of the PO7. This thing is freaking legit. He's really he's a perfectionist, and this thing is literally freaking awesome. I mean, the retention, the draw, it's unbelievable.
Nice. That's good looking holster.
Yeah, really digging it. He's
Nice.
making some nice stuff.
Nice.
So, but let's see here. Hello, Harry. I'll be needing a holster. Yeah, I don't know if Harry doesn't have one for a Phantom yet, but who knows? Harry makes
coming.
Yeah, I was gonna say he makes some awesome stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where the hell is the 17? That's what Pistol Pete wants to know. I don't know if he's talking to you or me or who.
Well, that might just be a general question. 17 could not make it tonight. He's on assignment, so he says hello to everybody. He might peek his head in at some point in the comments. You never know, but it's going to be Big J and I tonight. We are the special guests. You guys are the special guests. We're just plain ordinary people, but you guys are special.
We're just asking questions. Y'all are special.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Actually, when he said where the hell is 17, I thought he was talking about a Glock 17. I'm sorry. Yes, 17's on assignment this evening.
That's right. It's exactly right.
But I was going to say I don't have a 17. I have a 17L.
Yeah.
But
I still am not a fan of the 17 quite so much. I keep saying that I want to get back into them, but I just am not as much of a fan, and I'm not sure why I'm a fan of the 19X or the 45, but I am. I am nothing if not a conundrum.
Yeah. Well, everybody has their things they prefer. There's 31 flavors, like I always say. It's whatever you like. But I shoot the 17L pretty good, but I shoot the 34, or excuse me, the 19X better.
Yeah.
So, as far as Glocks.
Yeah.
And then I shoot the PO7 and the PO9 the same. So who knows? I mean, I just like the PO9 grip, a little better in my hand, because on these I have to use the +2, but I don't mind doing it.
Yeah, gotcha.
But yeah, we've got. I was just waiting for some more of our friends to come into the chat room. We've got about 40, it looks like right now. That's a Young Guns. Just installed the TLR7 on my PO7. Fits and looks great. Yeah, the TLR7 is a nice weapon light.
Yeah, I don't have one. I have no experience with them, but they look very cool. Right now, the money is being funneled into other things, so lights are not an option at this point.
Yeah, no, I like the TLR7. I just prefer the TLR1 because it's longer, and if people don't know why, I like a longer light, so it won't knock your muzzle out of battery if you have to gut check somebody. But they're nice. And yes, Harry, I do need a Bren 10. They're freaking awesome.
Yeah, those Brens are awesome. I've got a buddy at Centerfire that's got a Bren, and it's a tank.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome. What's funny is I think they're like a pound or two heavier than the Scar, and I actually owned the Scar, the black one, when it originally came out, and it was okay, but I definitely was not a fan of the UGG boot stock at all. I just wasn't a fan of it, and it was kind of, it shot good, but it was kind of, I don't know, it kind of felt like a tinker toy. It wasn't real stiff like the Bren is, and I have tried many Brens, like put them on my shoulder, and those things are legit.
Mm-hmm. Dirt is saying money funneling for guns. I will tell you. Oh, we've got some echo.
I don't hear it on my end.
Okay. But yeah, money is definitely being funneled in for guns. In fact, I'm holding a new investment right now, or at least a portion of it, the lower portion of it. So I'll just show this. I've been working on this actually tonight, and you probably can't see, but all the pins are in as I'm working on some alignment issues. This one's been a little bit more funky than the last two I've done. So I'm still fiddling around with this. And of course, once again, I've got the bad ejector on this, the original Gen 3 ejector. So I've had to order a new trigger housing with Gen 4 trigger housing so I can get the right ejector in this thing. But I'll tell you, I don't know how many of you guys have tried a Polymer 80. They're a lot of fun and they're an addiction. In fact, I don't think Mateo's in here right now, but he and I were talking the other day and kind of joking around at these being a little bit of an addiction. You get into one and it starts to work and it gets very exciting. And so this is actually, I'm working on my third. If you're on Instagram, you might have seen my second one out there, but this one's proving to be a little bit more of a challenge. You'd think you'd learn more and you get a little bit better with each one, but that's not necessarily the case. So, it's a learning process, and there are always little things. And I haven't even put anything else together yet. I've been just kind of trying to line up the holes, and right now they are tight. They are way too tight. So still kind of fiddling around with this thing. So they're an obsession.
Yeah, after the 15th one, you'll be doing them in your sleep.
Yeah. No, I've told myself I can't do any more 19s. This is the third 19 that I've got. And God, that's dumb. Looking back on that, right? We do some dumb things from time to time. So I'm done with 19s, at least for the time being, unless somebody else is going to furnish them for me. And Brownells was nice enough to do one. I don't think they're going to do any more, but I may try a 26. Maybe I'm not as big of a fan of the Glock 26 as I once was. I carried one for years. But I just am enjoying a little bit more grip, and so I haven't decided if I'm going to do that. And slides are a little bit more expensive because they're less prevalent for the 26, and so it'd be a bigger investment into something like that. I don't know that I'm ready to go down that hole just yet. And the 43, I have zero interest in. Now I don't know. I don't mind a Glock 43 necessarily, but I've heard very mixed reviews about the SS80 from the Glock store. That's their 43 polymer lower. And I'm not ready to get into something that it's known to be really finicky. So that's not interested in that.
Yeah. Fina has a question. Big Johnson, how do you like the trigger upgrade on your Sphinx? Thinking of installing a kit, the Modern Weapons kit. I highly recommend it. That thing is awesome. Matter of fact, I've got a video up on it. Can't remember the name of it. It might be Sphinx something, but it's definitely a shooter. The Sphinx with the Modern Weapon trigger kit and the sights, it literally is like a miniature Shadow 2. I mean, the thing shoots so damn good. Of course, the Sphinx has the hook trigger, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's not as bad as the PO1. But no, that thing is phenomenal. Matter of fact, Harry shot it, and he really liked it. What's up, KB? How are you doing, sir?
Hey, Coda.
Yeah, it's the Two Gun Chat Music. 1776 is out on assignment this evening, and Pop's Quest has no questions tonight.
I get what he did there. Haha.
He wants to know that. Yeah, I see it too, but I just, All right. Well, I do have some questions for you this evening, and of course for our great community here. All right. This is a question, and this goes out to everyone. What is the best piece of EDC gear that you use other than your gun? So whatever the rest of your EDC gear that you carry, whatever it is, what do you use the most of daily other than your pistol?
Well, I do have an answer for that. You're probably not going to see this coming, but I actually have been working on a review that I've been sitting on for months now, and it's actually the belt. For me, I mean, you know, I wear EDC belts every day, even if I can't carry, as I can't carry at work. You guys know that. So the belt to me that's critical. That's the foundation for everything, right?
Yep.
And you know, I've got even though I'm actually not carrying right this second, although I've got 4.5 guns in front of me, I have an EDC. I've got a carry belt on. I wear one every single day, so that is definitely critical for me.
Yeah. Well, if you've been following my channel, you know I wear great gun belts. I've got the $30 gun belt and the Blue Alpha Gear. I love their belts; they're awesome. And you know, great holsters. So I was kind of going towards like flashlight, you know, knife, things like that, and probably mine is going to be the pocket knife. You know, a lot of people, you know, some people carry double blades, and I always carry a flashlight. But during the day, I don't really use my flashlight, but I'm always using a knife for something, to cut something open, or just always using it. At least once or twice a day, I use my knife.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, you know, I was just, I guess I should have stated that a little differently, but you know, we're always pushing great holsters, great gun belts. But yeah, probably should have been a little more meticulous on that question.
It's all good.
But yeah, I love pocket knives, and I like, you know, I see some knife choices in here, like the Benchmades and the Colonel blades and things like that. You know, I've been carrying 2 knives. I've been carrying my claw, my devil's elbow. So if you haven't seen that, you can check it out. I've got pictures and video on it. But I've been carrying the devil's elbow, but I still carry a pocket knife also, and I use the pocket knife much more because the other one's a defensive knife. But I just love the hell out of it. You know, knives, you just gotta have them, or I gotta have them.
Yeah, you know, I still have the same old Spyderco. I've talked about it before. I've had it forever and a day. I think 94 or 95 is when I got it. And it's still a great knife. I mean, that to me speaks volumes for Spyderco. So I'm a big fan. Although I think I've only owned one real Spyderco in my entire life. Now I've got some other knives as well, but nothing fancy, nothing at all. I mean, I think one time, probably 15 years ago or so, I was watching one of those late night, whatever infomercial things, and it had a bundle of knives. I think about one of those. They were all crap.
Yeah.
But so I've got, you know, knives kind of everywhere around here. They're all pretty junky. I periodically get interested in something. I think the Microtech knives look really cool, but God, they're expensive. And, you know, even Benchmades and that sort of thing. So I was, and some of you guys may know, but I was in Branson for a couple of days this weekend. And we stopped by the big Bass Pro, the really big one. And of course, they've got a whole knife room in there and everything. And I was looking around at some of the knives. They had some very nice Benchmades and things like that. And they're very nice, but I don't know, man. It was, you know, $120 might have been the cheapest one there. And I just can't do it. Just to have another knife, especially since I have one that works, you know?
Yeah. Well, and you know, I have inexpensive knives. I don't really use like a Walmart knife other than like maybe to open a box. But, you know, I have very inexpensive Kershaws, and I really love Kershaw. They're great knives. Never broken one. So it doesn't have to be a super expensive knife. And I rotate knives too, pocket knives. So, but did have a question. Logan was saying that brass knuckles are illegal in Canada. Are they illegal there in Kansas?
Brass knuckles?
Yeah.
You know, I have no idea. That's not a topic that has come up before. I really don't know. I mean, you can have assisted knives. I don't know why you couldn't have brass knuckles, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know, and it was an old joke back in the day, but hell, you know, a roll of quarters worked really well with duct tape around them. But, you know, and speaking of brass knuckles, you know, I've got this, and this is actually listed as a paperweight. It's a paperweight. But what's really crazy about this is this unscrews, and you can fill it with lead.
Oh.
So you can make it pretty heavy. But yeah, this is a paperweight. But
Bald is saying his knuckles are made of steel.
There you go. Yeah, this is a paperweight. You can just carry. You just carry it around like this. You can poke and.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's pretty medieval.
That would work.
But it's just a paperweight. Yeah, and the brass monkeys, those are pretty cool. Those little. Have you seen those keychain things too, where it's like a little lead and it's wrapped in that paracord crap?
You are clearly not a drinker. I get the Brass Monkey. That was that was an old band drink many years ago when we used to play Brass Monkey the song and have some Brass Monkey. That stuff is disgusting, by the way. I can't stand it, but we used to drink it.
Yeah, that's a great song, man. Those guys, I remember back in the day, they could tear it up. Brass Monkey. But yeah, it's let's see here. Okay, so we got through that question, and then let's see here.
Milser Mike. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And this goes out to all the other YouTubers out in the in our chat room and yourself, of course. How many times, like during your, like when you put out a video, and maybe it doesn't happen a lot, do you get asked like what you do? Do you get asked a lot what you do?
Never. I had one person say they thought I was a cop. If you looked at me, you'd want to do your taxes. You wouldn't want to think, you know, local law enforcement or something like that. So not a cop. Although I like cops, I'm not a cop. But no, I generally don't. People don't really ask, and I wouldn't offer it up, and I wouldn't tell people what I do. So, you know, not that it's anything exciting. It's not. I sit behind a desk. That much I will tell you. But beyond that, it's unbelievably boring. So
yeah. Well, you know, I get asked that a lot, and I don't know why. I mean, I just think it's funny that, you know, and I was asking this also for the other, you know, YouTubers we have out in the chat room, you know, because people just, I guess they just are curious, you know, but I get it asked a lot to me. So I didn't know if you get asked a lot or other people in the chat get asked a lot. I was just curious.
Yeah, no, I think people by and large focus on the guns and the review every once in a while. I mean, I had a guy leave a comment early this morning, and I think he left the comment and then he immediately retracted it because I was going to go out and help him retract it. But it was on the PO1 Omega, and you know, I've got those really nice Lock Shamrock grips. God, I love those grips. Like Lock is, you guys know, they're awesome. And he had a pretty derogatory comment about it, you know, saying they were fruity looking and all that kind of stuff, and you know, whatever. He wouldn't say it if it was pointed at him, but anyway, you know, I occasionally get those lame comments, but by and large, people just want to talk about the guns. That's their thing, and oftentimes people want to say what gun they have, and that's great. I think that's really cool. They want to share their experience and what they like and what they don't like and everything, and I welcome that, you know.
Yeah. Well, Pop's cleared it up. He's just a full-time badass. But yeah, you know, I mean, I'll show, you know, some stuff on YouTube and I'll show some stuff on Instagram, but I'm, you know, if you know me, you know that I'm kind of a private person when it comes to a lot of that stuff. You know, I don't like to say a lot of that stuff. And also, have you been, well, I know that you say it a lot, but I don't. But I had a question the other night, and the question was, why don't you ever tell people where you buy your guns?
Oh, I do it all the time.
Yeah, no, I know you do.
Yeah.
But I guess, you know, I didn't think that was actually, I didn't think people, you know, I've talked about grab a gun a lot and stuff like that, but I don't tell every place I got a gun. You know, I just thought that was kind of a different question.
I think so. It depends on the gun. I think if it's a newer release, and it's something that's hard to find. I mean, when I did the Glock 45 and the 19 MOS Gen 5, people were asking where I got it. Even though on every video I say Centerfire Shooting Sports, and it's a given. I probably get 85% of my firearms there, and then a little bit sprinkled around elsewhere. But people will occasionally ask that, and I think it's just because they're trying to find them themselves. And I've even recommended Centerfire a couple of times to people because they'll have the model they're looking for. Like, you know, if I happen to be there that afternoon and they've got that gun, I'll say, hey, Centerfire, call them. They'll ship it to you, not to you, to your FFL, but you know, call them up. They've got it and their price is reasonable. But I don't know if people ever do. And I'm not trying to hawk Centerfire. I just happen to see it. It's there. If you want it, you know, you might be able to get it, sort of thing. Let's see. Cajun Tigers is saying, I bet KS Gun Guy is not your real name. It actually is. That was my given name at birth. So
yeah, Milser Mike said that I'm the honky tonk man in WWF, and I would rather be Jake the Snake Roberts, just a younger version.
You know, so I want to kind of backtrack here a second. Cajun Tiger, you know, you bring up kind of a good point. You know, all of us, you guys out in the our family out in the audience, as well. Some of the guys in the channels know Big Johnson and I pretty well, but you know, I don't share my name, and it was at first a choice. I really wanted to have some anonymity. I wanted to keep my personal life separate and not have people know where I am or anything like that. Now that isn't quite as much of a worry anymore. The likelihood that you're going to find me is very, very small. I live in a very large city. That'd be tough to do. But even beyond that, nowadays, if somebody found out my name, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I kind of like the idea of being KS on the channel. I sort of have taken on that identity a little bit. Now in my regular life, I'm totally not KS. And people don't know me like that. Some people know that I have the channel. I'm not afraid to talk about it, but they know the real me. But here I don't know. I kind of like being KS. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice having a different, I guess, fresh start or something like that. So Jasper Quaid, I know where you live, Mr. Gun Guy. Well, Kansas, yes, would be a good guess for sure. I will share my state, but beyond that, I generally don't. So,
yeah, and you know, actually for me, you know, I just go by Big Johnson too, but that's really been my real nickname since I was probably 13 years old. So, I mean, I didn't just pull it out of the sky. However, when I first started YouTube, people thought I was a porn channel. So that was pretty funny.
Well, yeah. And you know, if the firearm thing really gets cracked down, you could definitely shift.
That's why I added the guns and gear, because when I first started, I was just Big Johnson. And everybody's like, oh, this is a porn channel. I was like, no, you're the wrong place, buddy.
Jeez. So real quickly, Voltaire does have a question. How are the prices? His local shop is as bad as Cabela's, and Cabela's, you know, it's hit or miss at Cabela's. You can get some good deals periodically. They have some sales that are at least competitive, but otherwise you're usually paying MSRP or pretty close to it. So they had a SPO1 for $730, and he got his for $630 on Gunbroker. I would actually say $630 might even be a tiny bit high, although it is a heck of a lot better than Cabela's. The only bummer with shipping guns, a lot of times you have to factor in the transfer fee and the shipping fee if they charge shipping, that sort of thing. So there's some extra built-in costs there, unless you know an FFL person that can swing you a deal. But I think centerfire would probably be a little bit closer to 600. Now, of course, shipping, they'll charge you $25 to ship, and that's it. So it's a pretty reasonable shipping fee. But yeah, you know, you just got to find the right deals. If getting the best deal is your thing, then you just have to play the waiting game.
Yeah. You know, going in like Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's and Dirt Road's right. I would never buy a gun there, new or used. I mean, when I go in there and look at their gun prices, I just want to start throat punching people, because it is like so freaking ridiculous. I mean, they're trying to sell used guns for more than MSRP on the gun being new. I mean, it's just a joke. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. And I mean, you know, that's where it goes to being, you know, kind of check into things, do your homework before you go into the gun, you know, into these places, and kind of, you know, shop a little bit. Don't, you know, they're looking for the people that just say, hey, I want that gun. And, you know, if it's an exclusive, you know, sometimes like with a certain color or a Cerakote that they only offer and you have to have it, I understand, you know, if that's what you want, get it. But, you know, if you do your homework, I mean, you can blow away their prices. You can get, like, even Grab a Gun, you can buy stuff from Grab a Gun and have it shipped and pay a transfer fee, still way cheaper than you can at a lot of Cabela's and stuff like that too. So, and I mean, I can buy it locally, you know, Grab a Gun is local to me. So I go in and use them as the FFL. I don't pay a transfer fee, but, you know, you just got to really do your homework, see what your taxes, you know, if you're not being taxed, you know, that can, you know, I do have to pay tax at Grab a Gun, which sucks, but understand. You know, you can find some really good deals. And I do, you know, and I look at Grab a Gun. I mean, they're local to me, so I'm supporting local, you know, basically a local gun store. And, you know, I've bought stuff at K5 Arms before, and they're local to me. You know, I really don't buy anything out of state, you know, where it has to be shipped here. I bought a couple of things, but majority of it's local.
Right. And Milsurp Mike brings up a good point, giving good local shops shout outs. And that's absolutely true. And I firmly believe that. And I would much prefer to give local shop's business whenever possible. So again, that's why I go to Centerfire for most things. Now, Millserp and I both also shop at Frontier Justice. They've got a couple of good stores here in town, and their selection is phenomenal. Now their prices are a little bit higher, but they have beautiful stores and that sort of thing. And so it is great to give some props to the local places whenever possible.
Yeah, and just like what Dirt Road's saying, if you locally buy from a shop a lot, sometimes they'll even cut you, some deals because you bought from them before. I mean, it definitely has its, its perks and stuff like that. I mean, I don't walk in and go, hey, I do YouTube, give me half off. I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't, I'm nobody. I'm just a normal guy. So
right. Now, Jasper brings up a good point. He tries to buy local, but the local stores don't always stock what he's looking for, which is absolutely true. And that can be the case oftentimes. I mean, there are a lot of local stores that are going to carry the popular things, the Glocks and the Smith & Wessons and things like that. So do any of you guys ever special order? Is that a thing with anybody?
I have before, yes.
I definitely have on multiple occasions. In fact, the Canic that I just released, whatever, last weekend, that was a special order, but Centerfire was able to get it pretty quickly. So, and sometimes you have to wait. I'm waiting on 3 guns from them right now, but it's just you get them when you get them, and that's pretty much it.
Yep, and I guess Jesse B's got a lower coming from a local shop, and that's good. Matter of fact, like the good thing about like me, I travel around so much, but like I can still go to Primary Arms and walk in the front door. Matter of fact, last time I was at Primary Arms and, I bought a lower and an upper, and you can check it out on Instagram. It's a special edition. I walked in the store and Honest Outlaws video was actually playing, in their store.
Nice.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. I even took a picture of it and texted it to him, and I said, look, you're a celebrity. So that's kind of cool that, they support, and all they do is just play a loop of YouTubers. So it's pretty cool. Grand Thumb and stuff like that. They play a lot of that. So
that's awesome.
It's good. Yeah. It's good that they support, a lot of the YouTube guys. And I know that, I've seen a bunch of videos when I've been in there, but I haven't, and it might've just been the exact time I was in there, but I haven't seen a KB 32 video yet. I was telling the guys behind the counter, I'm like, why the hell isn't KB up there? And they were like, what? I said, KB 32 tactical, and they're like, oh, yeah, we've seen him before on the, the big screen. So, all right, let's see here. Okay. And this is a question also for, the chat, because we want to know what they say about this. If they're not even a channel, like if they don't, they're not a YouTube creator, they just watch YouTube. I really want to kind of hear their input. But what bugs you the most about YouTube? If you have to pick out a couple things as a content creator and then as a viewer, what bugs you the most about YouTube?
I don't know. That is a very difficult question. That's one to prepare for a little bit, but
I like catching you off guard.
I know, right? I'm trying to think. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into a video, of course, but that's rewarded with all the comments and the views and all that kind of stuff, and just the interaction and reaction to that sort of thing. And so that's not really so much annoying. I guess it's a labor of love, if nothing else. But dealing with bad comments, that still can be a little bit frustrating sometimes. It doesn't affect me anymore. Early on, when you get a really nasty comment, it can mess with you for a couple of days, or at least it did for me. But I'm pretty used to it now. I just chuck them. I don't even say anything anymore. It's not worth my time. And if it's really bad, in fact, I had a guy make a comment. I think it was on the Glock 45 video, and it was about the California shootings, and it was something like, well, I guess the Glock really does work, or something. It was just it was an awful comment. I chucked him. I didn't just chuck the comment. I chucked him, and I really wanted to respond, but I just didn't. What good is it going to do anyone? The guy or kid or whatever was just a jerk. And so that still is frustrating that there are people out there that show their true colors, unfortunately. But, music lovers saying, yeah, KS Gun Guy can't shoot straight. But here's the thing. I admit it in the videos. So I get a lot of that out of the way by saying it myself. I don't proclaim to be any sort of master grand flash shooter or anything like that. I am a normal average Joe shooter with normal average Joe experience. So, and I have absolutely no problem poking fun of myself at all. But yeah, I think that would probably be it for me. I could probably think of some other things, but how about you?
With me, it is demonetizing our videos for stupid shit. I mean, just there's absolutely no reason. I mean, there's no cussing, there's no, building, shit. I mean, it's just stupid. The demonetizing the videos and then still running ads on them. They've demonetized it, but then they run their ads on it. I think that's stupid. Also, and I know some other people said this too, with like the suggested stuff, I'll get crap and it's like some third world country underwater basket weaving video. And I'm like, what? I've never looked at one. Why the hell are you sending me this? Just stupid stuff like that. And of course, comments, we all get them, there's trolls everywhere you go. But sometimes I'll play around with the trolls. I'll basically, if their version is a bunch of BS, I'll say, well, what about this scenario? To kind of prove themselves wrong. And then, I'll just leave, thanks for watching, carry on. That's about it. And then I've had to, launch a couple of people from just like paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. It's not worth it. So
right.
And that it is a leftist platform. I mean, I've actually even had on my gun videos, I've actually had anti-gun ads.
Oh yeah. Oh, that happens actually fairly often. And usually there'll be somebody who comments, hey, I saw XYZ ad.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of funny personally, because we can't control it.
Yeah.
So honest, good to see you.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I just look at it as their little propaganda machine, I mean, yes, they're letting us use their platform, but it is what it is. We don't control it. We can't control it. So they're going to do what they're going to do. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Now, I get a lot of, and some of my favorite comments, and I know we've talked about some of this stuff before, but the inner workings of YouTube channels, it can be kind of fascinating. To me, it's a study in behavior. My background was behavioral psychology. So I find a lot of it very fascinating, and the ones that are the most entertaining, and I've learned how to respond to these guys most of the time, but it's the ones that are just so hardcore with a brand, whatever brand it is. And there's just no, you can't really have a conversation with them. So I've learned to just, hey, that's a great gun too. And thanks and cheers and all that kind of stuff. But I used to offer a different perspective, politely, and man, sometimes they would come back and just rip you apart. And it's like, dude, I wasn't disagreeing with you. I was offering a different perspective. Anymore, I don't do that. It's not, it's not worth it at all.
Yeah. And, I get people that are like that, where they're one brand loyal, and I hate to say this. I mean, I own them too, but, most of them are Glock guys, and they're like, I can do everything that you did right there with my Glock 19. My Glock 19 will, solve the world's problems. And I'm like, cool. Hey, that's great. I'm not discrediting your firearm. And they're just like, oh no, you're full of crap. Glock 19's better than that. I could buy 10 Glock 19s for the price of that gun. It's like, whatever, man, buy your own crap. I don't care.
Right. Dirt was saying one guy called him a dumb businessman for selling his TP9 SA. And it's funny. I mean, you do what you do and other people do what they do. And I don't know why people have to criticize you for it. Now, if people saw, I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you saw my safe at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, the end of the year, it would look totally different each time. You know, guns come in, guns go out. It's the life of a reviewer that's trying to get new content and new guns to review often. I mean, that's financially the only way to do it. And from a business perspective, it's probably ludicrous to do that, but that's not why I do it. It's not a business endeavor. So, you know, people are going to say what they're going to say.
Yeah. And that's, you know, that's another thing. I don't, you know, I don't buy and sell, and, you know, I don't flip a lot of stuff like that, you know. So I've had a lot of people say, well, you have too many guns. You don't need that many guns. And I'm like, well, who are you to tell me what I need and what I don't need? You're not my dad. Even if you were, I'd tell you to pump sand in a nice way. But, you know, I mean, people can do what they want to do. You know, last time I checked, it was America. So
now people are talking about guns here a little bit, so we should probably mention a gun or two on a gun chat. And Ashek was talking about Kimbers. What do you think about? There's some new Kimbers coming. What do you think of those?
Yeah, I'm not interested. You know, Kimber back in the day, I mean, the old Kimbers, and we've talked about this before, I actually really like the older Kimbers. The newer ones, not so much. Not you know, the brand new Striker Fire, you know, especially with the price of $1,000 something for their higher end one, and it looks like all they've done is put some grips on it. I'm not interested in that at all. I mean, it does absolutely nothing for me because it's $1,000. It holds, what is it, 6+1 of 9mm. I mean, hell, my shield holds more than that. And I'm not brand loyal. I'm just looking at what you're getting for the gun, the capacity, and it might be a phenomenal shooter. It could very well be, but you know, is it 3 shields worth of phenomenal? I seriously doubt that it is. And then, you know, the 1911, the older ones, they were really nice. The other ones have quite a bit of play in the slide. You can grab a newer Kimber, and they're just, the tolerances are a lot different. I'm not saying that they're bad guns. If people have Kimbers and you like them, hey, you know, you like them. But I just, you know, I have no reason to have them. Just a personal thing. Like I said, I'm not bashing your gun if you really like Kimbers.
Yeah. When I heard they were doing a Striker, kind of piqued my interest a little bit, and then learned the price, and I can't justify that. I mean, occasionally I will try a gun that's a little bit more expensive because I'm uber curious, but with something kind of that small, and I've never really been into Kimbers before, I can't do that. I mean, the one that I thought looked kind of cool is $1,000. I can't justify that. You can get 2.5 Glocks for $1,000. Not to say that I would run out and instead buy 2.5 Glocks, but although I have 2.5 Glocks sitting right here in front of me, so it's a little heavy-handed. But yeah, I can't justify that. I mean, and I hear their revolvers are very nice. I'm not a wheel gun guy, but again, I just that's not my cup of tea.
And it kind of looks, when you look at it, it kind of looks like a copy of the SIG to me, you know, like the little 1911 a little bit. I mean, that just from looking at the pictures, of course, I haven't seen one personally, so I don't know. But, you know, I'm just not a Kimber fan. Like I said, I like their older stuff, like their like 1980s and 90s, 1911s. But yeah, their newer ones, they're a little bit to be desired for me. Let's see here. I had make sure we're not missing some questions over here.
Real quick, Keith Gregory. Yes, I carry 9mm. In fact, the majority of what I deal with is 9mm. I might occasionally feature a 380 or a 45, but 9mm is pretty much where I stick to everything.
Okay, Sheck wins the comment of the night. That's a good rename for this spring, or for this stream. 2.5 cocks. That's pretty funny. I got to give him that. That's pretty damn funny.
That is pretty funny.
Can't laugh at, you know, if you can't laugh at stuff like that, what the hell, you know, got to have
right.
But, you know, we did have a question, and I think that it was, if I remember right, I think that it was Logan, but they were asking how often, like, do you carry, or I think it was, do you carry every day?
Do I carry every day?
Well,
truthfully,
yeah,
no, I don't. And when I say no, what it means is at work, I can't carry. That is absolutely 100% off limits. And they would find out if you did. We have to walk through certain doors, and they'd be able to tell. And unfortunately, you can't have a gun in your car either. They can tell that too. So that presents some issues. If I come home and if I'm going out, even if it's just to the range or whatever, yes, I will carry. But if I come home and I'm home, I'm not going to carry. I have a gun with me. I can definitely defend myself easily and quickly, but no. So there are some days if I just go to and from work and then I'm home, I won't strap a gun onto my waist. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And I am able to carry every day, even if I, like go to a very formal business thing, I still carry. If it can't physically be on me, it is in my my briefcase, and it's literally on my shoulder. So I do physically carry every day, even on a Saturday. If I run to the grocery store or run an errand, I strap a gun on. I mean, that's just, what's funny is, I mean, I've been carrying forever, but if I don't have and understand a lot of jobs, you have to go through a metal detector, you have to go through security. I mean, I understand that, it's not worth, I don't want anybody to lose their job because I said carry, but if I have to go into a hospital or I have to go into a post office, my guns don't show. So I'll just leave it at that. And hell, KS has been to a hotel that I was at, and I was like, look, they say no Berettas right there. I don't carry a Beretta, so I'm good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just like, and the way that I look at it is bad guys don't read. Gun-free zones are worthless. That invites wolves to the hen house. We all know that. And I'm not going to be, in that situation. So, and if worse came to worse, I could hire an attorney or whatever I needed to do, but I'm not going to put myself in a weird situation if I don't have to.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's a bummer. I always feel a little bit underpowered at work. Thankfully, it's secured facilities, so the average Joe cannot get in. So that helps a little bit. But and we are very, very close to the federal building, and we've got a police kiosk about 50 feet away from our front door, which helps immensely as well. But yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer. It's a sacrifice that I make, unfortunately.
Yeah, and once you carry so long, that's kind of where I was going. It kind of becomes part of your body. If you don't have it, you're like, whoa, hey, it's not there. You kind of feels like something's missing. So when you do it a lot, and that's another thing. People that are able to carry, and they have their LTC, their license to carry or something, and then they just throw it in a drawer or buy a new gun and just load it up with self-defense ammo and put it in their nightstand. And they haven't even shot it. They haven't even tested to see if that self-defense ammo is going to run in that gun, or if they're going to pull it out and go to fire it and the striker's going to break or something weird's going to happen. They haven't proven that gun to themselves or that they can even shoot that gun. There's people that go out and buy these little teeny tiny guns, and then they're not used to the triggers or they're not used to the recoil. That's why I say I don't care what the hell you're buying. I don't care if it's a 22. Go shoot the damn thing and make sure it's going to fire. Don't just say it's going to defend you and your family's life and you've never even pulled the trigger on it. That's ridiculous to me.
Well, and be proficient with it as well, because you're responsible for anything that gun does to anything or anyone. I mean, you have to answer for that. And that's why, one of the golden rules is know what's beyond your target. And that I can't stress that enough. You don't want collateral damage when you're trying to do something good and you end up not doing something good. Yeah. And that goes along with Killa was saying, what's your position on qualification prior to obtaining a CCP? And I'm going to kind of stretch that just a little bit. I'm a firm believer, and I remember when I took my CCW course, there were a couple of people there that really had no experience. The teacher or trainer there that was doing the class had a variety of guns that people could use if they didn't have their own. And a lot of people didn't have one. So that was also a little bit foreign to me. But a couple of people, they would do the 22 to qualify, and basically he would be teaching them how to hold it and everything. And I just kind of thought, man, I appreciate people wanting to get interested in carrying a firearm, and I support that 110%. Don't get me wrong, but I think you need to have some skills. I definitely think you need to have some skills and some training before you actually carry the gun. I think that is a responsibility that we owe it to ourselves and the other people around us to have some some confidence and some skill if we're going to be carrying a firearm in public. So it was quite an interesting experience to see that. And I don't know if anybody else out there has seen that sort of thing when you went through a carry course, or if you've been through a carry course, but it was it was really interesting. And I had a buddy with me. He and I took the class at the same time, and I had been a shooter for years and years before that. So I had a lot of experience. I brought a bag full of firearms, which probably was a little bit overkill for the class, but I ended up qualifying with a Glock 19. And, I just walked up to the line, bang, 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 done, and it was fine. And other people were working on their first or second shot. And it was interesting to see that,
Yeah. Well, here's my stance on it. And you might be like, okay, when I say what I'm going to say, but I look at it this way. In the Second Amendment, it does not say you or she or he or this particular person needs to qualify with crap. Okay. It just says the right to bear arms, period. So I look at it this way. If you are legally able to buy a gun, you should legally be able to carry it. However, I do recommend that people go shoot them and get practice with them. And you're under the assumption that if they're interested in getting their LTC, license to carry, that you would assume they would do that. However, I know a lot of people don't. But if you can go through the basic class, which isn't rocket science, in Texas. Now in Texas, you can't qualify with anything under a 380. So at least has to be a 380. However, I think if you walk into a store and you're a legal citizen and, you do what you need to do and you're a good guy, you should walk out with a gun and you should be able to carry it, period, right out of the store. But that's just my opinion. And I would highly recommend people get training or be familiar, or at least have a friend that could show them how to do it properly. Because you've taken an interest in buying a firearm, so you should have an interest in learning how to use it correctly and be very familiar with it. Most people don't just, you have to take a driver's ed course before you're going to drive a car. You should have some familiarity with the firearm before you choose to buy a firearm. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm a firm believer in having some training and some skills with it. And that's the same with any tool. I mean, that's the same with driving. It's the same with working most tools. You want some training and some experience to be able to do it reasonably well and not cause yourself or somebody else some harm. So I remember seeing it at a local store. It was not Centerfire. This was before actually Centerfire, I think, existed. I was, getting ready to go out on the range, and a person, I'll just say a person, was buying a tiny little gun, kind of like you were talking about a little while ago. And the person just put it in a bag they were carrying and said, okay, I'm ready to go. And they were done with it and walked out of the store after they bought the gun. And it was kind of one of those things. And I don't know if they eventually came back and maybe, did some shooting with it, but that did not seem to be the intention at all. They wanted the accessory and have it with them. And I hear what you're saying. I totally hear what you're saying. And conceptually, I agree with it. I do. I think anybody should be able to buy a firearm as long as they're, I'd say, over 18. I think that's reasonable. But just having it for the sake of having it and not knowing what it can do or what you can do with it, that can be a dangerous mix.
Yeah. Well, and I was at K5. This was, I don't know, about a month ago. And a guy was trading in a Gen 4 Glock 19. Okay, he was traded it in, and he traded it in on a 19X. So he basically unloaded his standard 19 that he was trading in, took the ammo out of it, and then did the exchange, bought the 19X, loaded the 15 rounds in his 17 round mag, which I understand, put the gun, loaded it, and put it in his holster and walked out of the store with it. That was going to be his protection firearm. Now, 90% of the time, that gun could go bang if it needs to, but he didn't know if his sights were on with the particular ammo that he was running. Now, it was a 19 for a 19, so it's probably, same slide, length and everything. So it's probably very compatible, and I'm sure the gun would have gone bang, but he walked out of the store in the same holster that he came in with the other one in. So I thought that was, I was just like, okay, you might, hopefully he's going to go shoot it. Maybe he went straight and shot it, who knows? But I don't know. I just think that you definitely want to make sure your gun's going to work. You don't want to be carrying a paperweight.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And, we've got like Keith saying once you get your permit, train with your firearm as much as you can. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. Mine is just the whole thing of the government control shit. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah.
We should be able to get what the hell we want to get. And honestly, my feeling is we should be able to have, machine guns. I mean, we should be able to have whatever the military can have or anybody else can have. We should be able to have. We shouldn't be told what we can own and what we can't own. If you can afford it, buy the damn thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now.
Well, it's funny. Keith had mentioned that, and I was kind of thinking about. I went shooting. Was it last night? It was last night, very briefly, and I shot the Rock Island, the map gun right here. If you can see that, it's actually surprisingly good gun. Is it more on that sometime later? But then I also shot Polymer 80 #2 and had the exact same issues that I had with the first one. I had a lot of feeding issues, so that was a little bit frustrating. So it's got some quirks to work out, but radically different firearms, totally different, and the feeling was totally different. And periodically, it occurs to me, I'm probably doing myself more disservice. Here I am talking about getting training and spending the time and getting to know your guns and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going gun to gun to gun to gun almost every week. It is rare that I shoot the same gun within 2 or 3 months, if that. And so that's a terrible habit. And I need to try and get away from that. Unfortunately, being a reviewer and trying to capture footage and all that kind of stuff, that can be very challenging to do.
Yeah. And, we did have a question. Let's see who was asking it. Okay, it was Logan. Logan asked, "What are our thoughts on the stun batons? The stun guns and the stun batons. What are our thoughts on that? Do you have a stance on anything that are stun guns?"
Oh, I'm for them. I think that's certainly a viable option, especially for somebody who's jogging in the park or something like that. It might not have a very good holster rig or something to have some methodology of protecting him or herself. I think that's better than not having anything.
Yeah. Well, and I've been hit. I've been hit with stun guns, not like in a bad way. We were just testing them. And it was the little, I don't know, I can't remember the amperage it was amps, or excuse me, it was volts, not amps, because amps will kill you. But it freaking stung like hell, but I could still stand. And then I was hit by one, and it freaking knocked my big ass on the ground. So, however, when it comes to stun guns and things like that, I actually would rather someone carry pepper spray. I mean, like the good pepper spray, not the little crappy bottle you buy, but the real shit. If you've ever been hit with that, and I mean, you don't even have to be hit directly in the face. I mean, if you're hit on your shirt, it will completely wipe you out if you get the good stuff. Because, on a stun gun, I mean, you've got to get it on them, you've got to touch them, and if they could kick you or get it out of your hand, but on some of the pepper sprays, you can hook your finger in it in case your hand went down, at least it's still hooked on your finger.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're able to and some of those things will go like 20 feet. I mean, they'll stretch out there. And if you can get that on them, they're going to go down or they're going to start crying. You can get the hell away, especially for like a female or a small male or something like that. I highly recommend pepper spray. The good stuff. Like I've got my wife and my daughter, I've got them the good stuff. So, because you just don't ever know. And you could zap somebody if somebody's messing with you in a mall or something, and it's not, yeah, it might get on another person, but, they're not going to die. So I feel pretty comfortable with that stuff. It's pretty, oh, hell. Logan said he can't even carry pepper spray in Canada. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I would be mixing up some Tabasco sauce and some freaking cayenne pepper, and I'd put it in a damn spray bottle. Good Lord, man. Shit. Can't have pepper spray. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Golly. Wow.
Yeah,
okay. Then carry a freaking pit bull with you everywhere. How about that?
Can you have a pepper grinder and you grind it a lot and then you try and kind of fling it at people? I mean, that would be something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. And honest is saying, determined a guy can walk through a stun gun, or with a taser gun, but with the right spread of OC spray, not going to happen. Yeah. That stuff it's bad. That pepper spray shit is legit. Man. I mean, they sprayed it like in my direction, and I mean, I could all of a sudden sinuses open and you can't see where the hell you're even walking. It's bad.
Oh, yeah, no thanks.
So yeah. But Yeah, you can't use harsh language in Canada. Yeah, that's pretty.
You have to have a permit.
Yeah, but you know the stuff that the pepper spray I'm talking about, you can buy at like police stores. I mean, it's actually what police officers and military use, and they will sell it to a civilian. Matter of fact, you can even buy it online. But that little crap they sell at Cabela's and stuff, that's not the high dose stuff that I'm talking about. I mean, it's better than nothing. It's kind of like a bear spray, I think, but or similar to it.
You got to get those ones that are really high pressure, get that really good stream.
Yeah, I've seen them, and they look like a damn mini fire extinguisher, and I'm just like, holy crap! Can you imagine getting doused with that?
I bet one on each hip.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Let's see here. Yeah, well, I guess we got through all the questions that I had. Let's see if we've missed any.
How often do you shoot your carry gun?
I was going to say, I think that question came up earlier. How often do you shoot your carry gun?
Well, I kind of answered it before. Not as often as I should. Now I've got 3 primary carry guns, I guess you could say. Okay. Now the number 1 would be the Shield, and I shoot it 6 times a year, probably. So probably, if I had to average it out, it would be 800 rounds, maybe something like that. Now I shoot a lot, so I know the feeling of a gun, and I suppose I would have an advantage over somebody that shoots the same amount with their shield, but doesn't shoot anything in between. So that might be okay, but I should shoot it more. A lot of it comes down to cost of ammo, because I've spent a lot of money doing the videos and all that kind of stuff. And so that I'm buying a lot of ammo, but not shooting as much through my carry as I should.
Yeah. Well, I do, I rotate my carry guns. So that way I'm proficient with all of them, and sometimes I go through 5 or 6. I mean, hell, I've even carried two or three different ones within a week. But those are guns that I'm very familiar with. I have shot a lot, and even if I have my carry gun on me and I go to the range, sometimes I won't shoot it, but sometimes I will. Sometimes I'll actually take it right out. I'll run some defensive ammo through it and some full metal jacket. Then before I leave, of course, I load it up with defensive ammo, and then I put it back in the holster. And I think I made this comment before. I had a person that was next to me. They saw me shooting it. Then they saw me put it in the holster, and it was a younger, I think it was a son and a dad. And the dad looked at me and said, "You're going to carry that gun after you shot it?" And I looked at him and I was like, "Well, hell yeah, I am. It worked."
I just warmed it up.
Yeah, well, I think he was under the assumption like, oh my gosh, it's dirty. Hell, I have guns that run better, even, that'll even run better when they're dirty. So, to each their own, but we did have a question also. Is TC or 22 TCM viable for self-defense?
Well, yes. I think it could be. Even a 22 is viable for self-defense. You could get into ballistics and velocity and all that kind of stuff at the same time. Again, the gun you have on you is better than the one you don't. And a 22 to the head wouldn't feel good. So a 22 TCM would feel less good. Yeah. But there are some serious drawbacks to it. One of which it is horrifically loud. It's AR pistol loud. So you're going to go deaf in the process, probably. That's going to do some pretty good damage. Blinding light, if you're in the dark and you're shooting that, it gives off one heck of a flash. So be prepared for that. For me, I wouldn't carry it. I wouldn't put that on the register personally, but you probably could.
Yeah. For me, I would now 22, regular rimfire 22, sometimes you can have bad primers. We all know that. I've shot a lot of 22, and, maybe out of one mag, I might have one primer, depending on the ammo. Now, on a defensive 22 long rifle, I would only carry like CCI or something, Velocitor, Stinger, something like that. But imagine this. If I was pointing a 22 and I had 10 rounds in it, maybe plus 1 in the chamber, so I had 11, and there's absolutely no recoil, because there's not. It's literally like shooting a BB gun. And I loaded 11 rounds right between your eyes or in your face, you're not going to make it out. So that is a very viable option for someone who is recoil sensitive. A 22 TCM is even more powerful, like a 22 Magnum. And I would say, yes, you could do some serious damage with that. Now, would that be my preference? No, but I'm not recoil sensitive. So, but yeah, if you want to carry it, carry it. And yeah, 22 can be very dirty. Music is exactly right. But if you're familiar with your pistol and when it could foul out, and you've shot it a lot, you've got a lot of time behind it. If that's what you feel comfortable with, carry it. I mean, at least you have a gun on you. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's right. Now, 22 TCM, just for clarity, it's actually a center fire cartridge. It's not rim fire.
No, I know. I was talking about, I went into kind of the 22.
Yeah, I know. Just throwing that out there. But anyways, we had one last question. It's almost 8 o'clock. And I kind of want to get back to my Polymer 80. It's been staring at me for a while. So I want to try and clean that up a little bit. But Music was asking which one of us is the better shot. So that's going to be me. No, you know what? You and I have very different skill sets. I think I actually can answer that. And you might disagree. I don't know. You are a better accuracy shooter. You are far more accurate than I am. You've got more stable hands. You've got a better foundation. So you're going to be more accurate than I am. I think I can shoot a little quicker than you can. Now, again, it's not going to look as pretty. It's all going to be on target. But that would be my assumption, my assessment based on you and I have shot next to each other a couple of times. And we've seen each other's videos and that sort of thing. That would be my assessment. You are the more accurate of the two. I might be the faster of the two, which isn't necessarily the best thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't, I guess when I shoot in competition, I shoot fast. I don't really shoot fast like at the range. I don't go pop, 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 and I've done it before and I can keep it in a decent group. The way I assess my shooting is, if I'm just going for defensive shots, then I want to shoot like a fist, or I want it no bigger than an open hand. That's kind of, like from 7 or 10 yards. That's the kind of way I look at it because, if I'm shooting rapid shots and it's an open hand, I'm taking out your chest, or taking out your face. I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it. But yeah, if I'm trying to go for pinpoint accuracy, I might slow down a little bit and then take those super accurate shots. And I would say your assessment is probably right. I mean, we have shot together a couple of different times. So, but maybe we can, we don't have to video anything, but maybe we can just try it. Hell, I would be, I'm willing to try anything. So just to see if we can, to see, because we've never said, hey, you shoot 5 rounds and as quick as you can, and I'll shoot 5. We've never done that.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Very true. Accuracy through volume. Amen, brother.
Yeah. I mean, if you spray, I was going to say, I know, you can spray and pray and you can hit something. So, I mean, I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying, people can just, start slinging lead and eventually they're going to hit something, but it could be the bad thing. So you don't want to hit the non-bad person either. But, yeah. And, the bill drill, I want to start doing more bill drills, draw and shoot 6 and, rapid. And, I've been doing a lot more, or trying to do a lot more, to see what I guess to have a good cadence, to see where my wheels fall off, to do rapid shots, like shoot strings and, just see where I can push the limit and then where my accuracy starts going to shit, under speed. So that's one thing I've kind of been working on too. So.
Yeah. And by the way, thank you, West Coast Chicano. We really appreciate that, brother.
Yes.
Thanks for the donation.
Yeah, it's definitely not needed, but we definitely appreciate it. So beers for everybody.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this has been a really great time. So we'll go ahead and close it out. If you want to go ahead and say what you have coming up and.
Yeah, well, I've kind of alluded to one. This is actually build number 3. Everything's cut off of it. And actually I've got all the pins in right now as I'm working on some fitment. And the map as well as the TriStar will be coming up very soon. I have a special longer gun that I just picked up last night from a certain manufacturer. It's crazy looking. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So I'll be interested to see how I can put all that together because my review table is not that big. So I've got to think of a way to do that. But a lot of product stuff coming up, some fun guns coming up. It's the usual drill, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I was going to say that's awesome. And, I definitely want to let everyone know that we truly appreciate y'all being on. Y'all are family, friends. Y'all are all, all part of the group. So, and y'all make all this happen. So we definitely want to, have everyone subscribe to each other. There's a lot of great content creators out here. So please give them a check out, check them out, let them know that we sent you. And you know, I've got some. Matter of fact, I've been testing some other holsters. If you follow me on Instagram and if you follow KS, you know, we do post a lot of stuff on Instagram, and 17 does also. You know, so please go on, check out what we're doing. And I got some follow-ups coming up on that. Got some gun reviews coming up, and you know, we look forward to it. Like I said, it's all a big family, and y'all make it all happen for us. So we appreciate y'all so much.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.
Yep. Thank y'all. Carry on. Have a great night.
Bye.
Later.